Hello, my peeps, and welcome back to Passionate People and Preposterous Peeves. I'm your host, Ike, and before I hit any more high notes, I'd like to just take a moment and say thanks for being here and giving this pod a listen. It means a lot to me that you chose to use your precious time and give me and my guest your ears. Now, if after all that excitement, you still have the wherewithal, it'd be really dope if you share this with someone who you think would like it, or just subscribe yourself if you already haven't. That would mean a lot. Also, if you want to chat at me, you can always hit me up on Twitter at @likeikes or message me at passionandpeevespodcast@gmail.com. So, this week, I finally went back to the dentist after years apart and got two very expensive temporary crowns put on. Hooray! However, after doing so, had some pain the day after on my tongue of all places. Very curious. I was like, oh, that's not feeling good. I messaged them and they were not too far by, so they said, yeah, just come on down. So I came on down. And initially when I came in, sit me down in a chair, dental assistant takes a look. All right, let's see what's going on in there. Looks at my tongue, goes, oh, you just got a small ulcer. Nothing to worry about. Just, warm saltwater rinses and you'll be fine. Oh, okay. She's like, would you like to wait for the dentist? Or is that, is that all you had? I was like, oh, I'll just wait for the dentist. I'm already here. Why not? Dentist comes in. Dentist goes, all right, let's take a look. Looks, goes, oh, you have two rather large ulcers. It's like, oh, okay. He's like, well, there's something else that I had addressed. He's like, all right, well, let's get you some antibiotics and this will clear up in hopefully not too long. Here's some painkillers until then. Nice. The now sheepish dental assistant who's still standing in the corner goes, should he maybe rinse his mouth out with warm salt water? He's like, God, no. Unless he likes pain. This is apparently ulcers. This is my first time experiencing them, even really knowing much about them, are just kind of open sore cuts. Sorry to be kind of graphic and disgusting. And so if I had listened to the dental assistant, I would have just been kind of hurting myself, and for very little gain. Don't hold anything against her. I'm just, when it's only a couple of minutes, always wait for the head honcho. Anywho to butters. But got those. It's changing, hopefully for the better. So hopefully this goes away in a couple days. Also this week, I saw a spinal surgeon finally. Didn't get any operations done. It's just a consult follow-up after an MRI, which, boy, how are those things fun. So turns out that 2 to 3 of my vertebrae are missing, and I hope I'm pronouncing this right and remembering this correctly, some meninges or membranes surrounding the bone and stuff. And so that's why my back and neck are in pain. So, awesome. What can I do about it? Fucking not much of anything. I can take ibuprofen basically every day. I can do stretches. They said I could get injections, but I'm kind of not about that. And they don't want to do surgery, which sounds correct. I can't, or it's ill-advised according to that doctor, at least I'm going to get a second opinion, that I go see a chiropractor because they might do something bad, because it's a lot easier for something to go wrong when you have a lot less of the kind of membranes missing around your vertebra. So that's cool. Oh, but seeing another neck back person actually this coming Friday, right before my birthday, which is going to be this coming Saturday. Gonna spend it with some homies. Gonna go out and get some dinner and have a lovely time. It's gonna be great. Other things that are gonna be great is this episode. This episode is with a friend and magical guy, Alex GIMMI. I actually met Alex not that long ago. We had a pleasant match of magic and just got to talking. And I'm so glad we did. This episode has very little to do with magic, although it does come up. But this man is fascinating and much more than meets the eye. So please take it away past me and enjoy, y'all. All right, today, folks, on the pod, we've got a man who got his black belt signed by John Bon Jovi, got suspended in 8th grade for inciting a riot, and if you don't think he was cool enough, in 2005, he founded Colonial Middle School's Gay Straight Alliance. It's Alex GIMMI!
Hello.
I so badly wanted to say high middle school for some reason. All right. My mistakes aside, my friend, if you were ever to take part in a WWF styled event, what would you want your walkout song to be?
Goodness. Dude, I don't know. It's probably something degenerate. Some 100 Gex song. Money Machine or something.
Money Machine. Hell
yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
It's gotta be.
That's a great choice. Speaking of other good choices, what would be your favorite comic book, or cartoon to be adapted into a big screen adaptation?
All right, so I did think about this one for a little while. I think I have an answer written down. I chose Avatar: Last Airbender because there still hasn't been a film adaptation. So, you know,
wink, wink, nudge,
but I think
nudge.
There's one in the pipe. What? No, there's definitely isn't one.
It never happened. No, that's not.
Yeah, I don't know what you're talking about.
Not real. Didn't happen. Fake news.
Yep.
Well,
but that's the one.
Contrary to perhaps the occurrence that we're not referencing, what decision in your life are you the most proud of making?
Oh, goodness. Most proud. I don't know. I have no idea. I'll think about that one. I'll pass and come back to it. Sorry.
Cycling background. No, by all means, no. It's a tough one. We're putting you on the spot. What's the silliest thing you believed as a child that you look back on and just giggle at?
Oh, okay. So until I was like 6, I think, I didn't know how to say Santa Claus. I believed that Quantascorce came to visit me in the night and he would give me gifts.
I'm sorry.
Eat my cookies.
What?
Quantascorce.
Quantascorce.
Yeah, that's him.
I'm writing that down phonetically. Quantascorce.
The Jolly Red Man.
The Jolly Red Man.
Yeah.
That sounds like a magic card only a child could create. That's so awesome.
Yeah, Quantascorce.
Okay, clearly, Quantascorce. He comes. The Jolly Red Man. He comes at night.
Yeah. I think I just couldn't say Santa Claus. It was too hard.
The fact that you said Quantascorce, not like there's so many different like fumbles that I could see when you're like, oh, Santa Claus. Okay, thinking like, how is he gonna bungle this? You know, like, but Quantascorce is like,
oh yeah,
that's
that
not
just
a
rolls right off
reading
the tongue.
problem or a pronunciation problem. That's just a brain problem, and I am here for it. Thank you so much. Quantascorce.
Yeah.
Anything I can name, I'm naming it Quantascorce.
It's a great name.
If somebody comes up, I doubt it, but if I walk outside tomorrow morning and there's a lady with a baby carriage and goes, Isaac, do you remember blah 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 blah? And I'm like, no. She goes, oh, well, this is yours. I'm like, oh, Quantascorce, nice to meet you. I'm just gonna.
It's a good name.
It's a great name. It's the best name. All right. Well, that might be my new one. So for you, what is your favorite non-musical sound?
Oh, my favorite okay, so I really like the sound of popping, like bubble wrap.
Oh, yes.
That's a very satisfying sound for me.
Are you somebody that likes to do them one at a time or do bunches?
Oh, definitely one at a time.
Yeah, savor it.
Oh yeah. Absolutely, yeah. It's all about the journey.
It's like the audio equivalent for you of the people that like watch those like pimple popping videos on YouTube.
Oh goodness.
Like
slowly.
Yeah, it is. Well,
yeah, I mean all the way up until the moment when it pops, you know? It's like it's just perfect.
And then it's over and we get to start again. Well,
there's hundreds of them.
While we're in audiophile land, what's your favorite drive time jam?
Ooh. I don't know the exact song. This I think it'd be too hard for me to pick an exact song, but I really like listening to Lake Street Dive when I'm driving. Um, I mean, Bad Self Portraits probably like I don't know top three album for me while I'm driving. Listen to it every time I do like a long distance drive, which is often. Uh, so yeah,
Bad Self Portraits is your pick.
yeah, I think so.
All right, may or may not be listening to this after this and either judging you or praising you.
Well, depends on your taste.
In the interim, do you have a favorite industry secret or term that's only used in your line of work?
Oh, in my line of work?
First off, let the people know what you do.
Yeah, sure. So I am an unemployed software engineer. I write code. I usually have been found working on like healthcare applications. I've been working on healthcare research and healthcare startups for the last, I don't know, I guess coming on 10 years now. But I guess I actually learned a new one recently, which is dog fooding.
Oh, please go on.
So, so of course there's rubber ducking, which is when you have a problem that you're trying to solve and you pull aside a coworker, or the original was literally a rubber duck, and you describe the problem to the duck step by step such that you arrive at a solution on your own.
Oh. So it's like the code. Hold on, if I may try to understand.
Yeah, please. Yeah,
it's like the code writer's equivalent of flipping a coin to make a decision.
It kind of is.
Yeah.
It's more like when you unpack a problem step by step. Sometimes you like find the hole or like the thing that you missed the first time.
Okay.
And I learned recently that dog fooding is when you write a library of code by yourself, something that will be used by other people, and you use it in your own projects. That's dog fooding. So you take the thing that you made and you use it yourself.
I mean, that's how you know you're making a good product, is when you want to use it yourself. That's just
exactly.
Good content, basically.
Yeah.
I still love dog fooding. It's such a great.
Yeah.
That's so great. In a completely different line of questioning, what's your last or most memorable dream you've had?
Goodness. I don't have many good dreams, but the last and most memorable one I had, I talk in my sleep a lot. I'm like a very restless sleeper. But probably the most memorable recent one is like space travel. I don't know. I feel like that must be common, right? People's traveling in space in their dreams.
I don't think I've ever traveled in space in my dreams.
Oh, it rocks.
Would recommend. Next time, try it, he says. Okay.
Yes, try space travel.
That's awesome. What's your favorite G-rated curse word?
G-rated?
Think of something that you'd use around Mima or,
Okay, well, around Mima, I'm using Burmese curse words, but around the actual children, I mean, like Amale or or just bugger.
Bugger, love it.
Yeah.
Especially considering, depending upon like where you are in the world, bugger is not a G-rated curse. Like, my understanding from my little bit of my like time and foray into the British culture is bugger not a G-rated curse word.
Yeah.
But over here definitely is, because it just sounds so like plain Jane. Now hold on, rolling this back. Your Mima is Burmese, or Burmese curse words and she's not going to know them?
So all of my grandparents have passed away, but my wife, her grandmother is still here, and my wife is Burmese and her grandmother is Burmese. So yeah, there's a lot of Burmese cursing.
All right, for those out there who want to know, what's your favorite Burmese curse word that you can share with us?
Well, it's only my favorite because it's really funny hearing an 85-year-old woman say it.
Sure.
I'm probably gonna pronounce this wrong, but it's sapa, which it just means pussy, and you say it when you like.
There's a couple of phonic correlations there.
Yeah, so it's like when you drop something at home and you say fuck, instead she just says pussy, and it's really funny.
Suppa.
Yeah.
The only thing that's making me happy here is that suppa sounds like supper to me, so you guys can draw your own through lines of what makes my brain laugh. Speaking of supper, what's your favorite meal to make just for yourself?
Oh, for myself? Okay, well, I'm miserable in the kitchen, but favorite meal to make for myself. Okay, I don't know that I have a favorite. The most recent memorable one, I really enjoy making orange chicken. It's so tasty.
All right, break it down. How we doing?
Yeah, I mean,
hold on. You get to make it salty. Isn't it supposed to be sweet?
Well, it is supposed to be sweet, but when you get it from the Chinese restaurant, there's way too much sugar, you know?
Okay.
It's good, but it's too sweet. So at home, it's less sweet. That's all.
All right, so how are you making your orange chicken at home?
Yeah, I mean, you get your spices. It's pretty easy. The sauce is really just like reduced orange plus, various Chinese spices. So
I love that you're talking to us like we're all chefs and we're like nodding along.
I'm not a chef. I'm very bad in the kitchen.
Lost. Oh yeah,
very bad.
You lost me at reduce. Like,
okay. I mean, you squish your orange juice into your pan, and then you add your spices, and then you do a little with your flame, and then you add your chicken, and then it tastes real good.
I'm sorry, you do it all with your flame?
Yeah, just like that. It starts, makes the snap, crackle, pop sounds.
Just with your flame just gets, that's awesome.
That's it.
Yeah, that's all it is. It's so easy. Anybody can do it.
I mean, really what it is I stand around doing the prep work and my wife carries me through the ordeal.
All right. Some things are adding up. The ease of access truly is person to person.
Yes.
What would you say is your biggest everyday temptation?
Temptation? Does playing Magic count as a temptation?
I'll allow it. Or are we talking just like by yourself, just like shuffling up a deck of cards? Or are we talking like playing online?
I am just perma playing and thinking about Magic. Yeah, I just love the game. I don't know. I've played it for like my whole life. So
same.
Yeah,
you're in good company.
It's hard to put down.
You're safe here. It's okay.
Okay, good. Please don't judge me.
While we're in potentially the same field, what's your proudest accomplishment that the fewest people know of?
That the fewest people know of? Probably. I mean, I don't talk about it that much, but playing on the PT was cool. Like qualifying for the Magic Pro Tour was really cool.
Which Pro Tour did you qualify for and how?
Oh goodness, it was 20. I guess it was the first PT in 2020, and I don't really know how they're named anymore because it was like the whole COVID.
Oh, was this online or was this?
Yeah, like it got moved online. Yeah. It was supposed to be. It was supposed to
be in
modern.
It was supposed. Yeah. I know this one because I was supposed to go. It was supposed to be in South Carolina, and then it got moved to Seattle, and then it got canceled.
That's the one. Yes, that is the one.
You know how I know this? Because I was qualified and I bought tickets to both of those destinations.
Oh, no. Yeah, so I was really stoked for it. I qualified at PAX East in 2019.
Ooh.
And Pioneer was still like a brand new format, and I felt like I had a good read on it, and I was playing a deck that I really liked. And I, won my little constructed Pioneer tournament that like qualified me for a limited, Pro Tour qualifier. And then I top forward the like sealed and draft portion. And then it got moved online, and I just like lost all interest. But I'm really proud of actually getting there. But obviously my play at the event was less than I would have hoped for, just because I'm more invested in the like physical part of playing the game. I really like meeting people and stuff like that.
That's so funny that somebody who codes is like, oh yeah, I couldn't play digitally.
I really can't. I get so distracted. Like,
no wonder you're unemployed. But I'm chuffed.
Yeah.
All right. No, I'm just kidding. I think.
Oh, there's some truth to that.
Given the opportunity, what's your favorite story to tell?
Favorite story to tell? I guess I don't know. It depends on the crowd you're in, right? Like the crowd that you're in really determines the kind of story that you're gonna tell. For whatever reason, people find it really amusing how my wife and I got married. I don't know why. But like we just kind of got hitched at a courthouse on the way to Mammoth, California. So I didn't even know where this place was. It was in Independence, California. And this is only top of mind because this only happened like 3 months ago. But Yeah, so we've been together for a long time, and it was just kind of time, and we planned a trip to Mammoth, California, which for those who don't know is a big ski destination. And we were heading up there in June because they got over 100 feet of snow this season. And yeah, we got married at the courthouse where the Mansons were detained after he was hiding out in the national forest, which I didn't know that at the time. I just rolled up. I'm like, why are there all these pictures of like Manson and press? Like, what's going on? Where are we? But yeah, it was a blast. We took photos wearing all our snowboard gear, and then we had a good weekend. We went snowboarding for a couple days.
Who brought up the idea first? Did she? And you're like, yeah, why not? Or was you just see at courthouse and you're like, you know what?
I mean, we did book an appointment ahead of time, so I guess it was a group decision. But I guess the funny part was the reason. I mean, of course, everybody has their own reasons for getting married, and we've been together for 12 years, so this is about time.
Yeah.
But every day, after I got laid off, she'd be like, "Hey, do you need health insurance? Do you want some health insurance?"
Just slowly breadcrumbing her way to a husband.
Yeah. That's right.
Would you like some health insurance?
It's like, I've got this health insurance over here.
How's your knee doing? Your back.
Exactly. You feeling old yet? You're turning 30 this year.
You know what most 30-year-olds have? Health insurance.
Oh, yeah. Hey, I've got that now, all right? Listen.
Congratulations. Mazel tov.
Yeah.
Oh. All right. Here's a new one. Let me know how this one sits. What's worth the money? Or what is surprisingly worth the money? Or people should know isn't worth the money?
Oh, okay. Something that is definitely worth the money, desk chair. I was not a believer in expensive desk chairs. But now I am a believer. I have for reference, I do have a nice chair. My chair probably cost me about, I don't know, $1,400 or something, which is a lot.
I barely have you beat.
Yeah, which is a lot. I'm not gonna.
No, it's same. Yeah, it's a lot. Which one did you get? I'm curious.
Yeah, sure. So I have a Herm Miller M body. I'm a big fan. I also liked the Aeron. If you want a headrest, the Aeron seems pretty good. It's got an attachment. The M body does not, but you can get an aftermarket one. Anyway, obviously you can go very deep on this. You can go super deep on the kind of desk chair you want.
Oddly enough, for those of you that aren't aware and haven't done the looking that both myself and my guest have done, $1,500, not even close to the top. There's there are chairs that are 10 times more expensive, shockingly.
Yes. So because of that, I looked at the price tag and I was like, these people are fucking crazy. Why'd you pay so much for a chair? Just sit in a chair, idiot. But I found myself, since COVID, I had to work from home, which I was fortunate enough to be able to do that. But it meant that I was sitting at a desk all day. And unlike the desk at my office where I had a nice chair that my company paid for or whatever, I did not have a nice chair and my back was hurting. And so I just made the investment and I haven't looked back. It's really nice. Keeps my posture good. Back doesn't hurt. Life's good.
I'm glad it keeps your posture good. My posture is still mid at best.
Fair.
I bought the I believe it's the Steel series chair that they came out with. It was getting pretty strong reviews, and I do thoroughly enjoy the chair. And even though it was a lot, and at times I look at my bank account and go, man, I wish I didn't buy that chair. Overall, same boat. Highly recommend. Invest in your future, especially in your back.
Yes. Yeah, I'm getting old.
I'm 30. I needed health insurance.
That's right. Need health insurance and a chair.
So, on the same kind of, rundown, what's the best or most memorable piece of advice you've ever received?
I think I wrote this down.
Huzzah!
If you just give me a moment, I can pull it up.
I'll allow it.
Because I think that answer was worth the time.
The rest.
Yeah, it's just that I want to remember exactly what I wrote. Sorry.
No, you're fine. Man, you're free rolling right now. You gave me Quantascores. That's
oh, I got more. Look, that runs in the family, okay? Oh, okay, yeah. I remember now. See, this is all right. This pause was worth the wait because While I didn't remember the best, most memorable piece of advice I ever got, you know what I did? I wrote it down.
Yeah.
I wrote it down, and that is the best advice I ever got, is write it down.
Are you serious?
Yes, I'm not kidding.
God.
That is what I have. And I think this isn't like unique advice, you know, you could get this from a lot of people, but my dad has been journaling since like the 80s. Like he has journals of every day from
holy shit,
1987 or whatever until now.
He's got tomes, yeah.
Yeah, he has tomes actually, and it's not like a diary exactly. Like, you know, you're not writing down like, oh, today I got really mad about the dog or whatever. It's not like that. It's more like every morning he wakes up and he spends, you know, a dedicated 15 minutes or half hour like just brainstorming about things he's been like thinking about, like problems he's been trying to solve, or like funny little stories that he's been telling himself or whatever.
Yeah.
And I think, yeah, just the advice of write it down, very valuable for me. Like I have written down to-do lists for everything I do. I have, you know, I just keep everything written down.
Dude, to-do lists are busted. People that don't use to-do lists, y'all need to fix yourself. That it's cracked. It's just like free money you're leaving on the table. To-do lists are absolutely insanely valuable, not only to your headspace but towards your productivity. Also getting to check it off, that validation of looking at all the check marks on a to-do list. Whee!
Feels good.
I've won $15,000 getting a long day's check marks off. That's close. It's like shockingly close to winning 15 grand.
Yeah, that's another thing worth the investment. I like just this
winning $15,000.
Well, that would be nice, but no, just this year I started using like a to-do app that was sort of like, you know, cloud-based, so I can use it on all my different devices and add and remove, and that helps me a lot, keep everything in order.
I love for that people like enjoy it that way. I'm very tactile, so physically touching it, I put mine in my hat because I wear hats all the time, or I put it in my wallet so that I can't like forget its existence. Or if I put it digitally, I'll come back to it like a week later, be like, shit. But like if it's in my hat, it's in my wallet, it's like really hard to elude me for more than a day, if even that. And also again, like taking a pen and just like, you know, it's like scratching it down. It's for me,
it feels good. No, I totally understand.
Feels good. All right, here's a weird one for the kids out there. Fuck, marry, kill, fork, knife, and spoon.
Oh God! All right, I'm writing this down. I'm doing the math. 1 moment, please. All right, I've got a fork, knife, and a spoon, and I need to FMK, huh? I literally have this written down in front of me on a notebook.
No, baby, that's good. I gotta do. Hold on, I'm gonna write this down. I gotta do the math on a fuck, marry, kill.
Yeah. No, fork fucking sucks. We're killing fork. Fork can die.
Wow. Kill the fork, eh? All right.
I think I'm marrying spoon. Spoon does everything. I'm pretty sure spoon is just the best. It eats soup. You can eat chicken with a spoon. All right, get over yourself. You don't need a fork for that. Or use your hands. All right. But how do you eat soup with your hands? How do you eat soup with a knife or a fork? You just can't. Nah, spoon wins.
We found ourselves the soup man.
I'm the soup guy.
The fork fucking sucks. And hold on, I gotta do the math. This fucking sent me. Jesus. All right, circling back around. What decision in your life are you the most proud of making? Other than obviously coming on this podcast.
So true.
That goes without saying.
Yeah, everybody out there, if you come on here, you will feel so satisfied with your life.
Game changer.
Proudest? I don't know. It's not a decision really, but I'm really proud of the relationship I have with my family.
No, that is something. Talking to people over the course of my life, especially I've now worked at 2 charter schools. Trust me, that is something to be proud of.
Yeah, I mean, they make it so easy. I'm gonna be honest. Like,
you won you started off by winning the lottery. Wise choice. But I know people that have fucked that up.
Yes. So you know, of course, it still takes work even when it's easy. Yeah. So you know, but I'm really happy with myself and with the rest of the members of my family, like the investment that they put into, keeping in touch and caring for one another and always being there. Like I feel like I have a really strong support network in that way.
Hell yeah.
And I couldn't be here without it. So
that's beautiful, man. All right. Well, lastly, before we throw it to a commercial break, if you could have listeners of this podcast hear one song of your choosing, which would it be?
Oh, come on. We already talked about this one. This song is so fun. It's like maybe not the most positive song, but I don't care. I've been listening to Uke Ain't Enough by the Sonderbombs. It's like a fun little like garage band. I doubt anybody who's listening has ever heard of them, and that's totally fine.
That's the best part.
They're really fun.
All right, with that, we're going to throw it to our first break. Feel free to stick around and enjoy this totally real commercial, or take a minute to enjoy Uke Ain't Enough by the Sonderbombs. Or if you really wanted to hear a song from a previous episode, check out the playlist on Spotify, Passionate People and Preposterous Peeves Podcast, Song Rex. Long title, I know. Don't worry, there's a link in the description. Either way, see you in a bit. Do you ever find yourself doing a mundane activity with nothing to keep you from gouging your eyes out or sticking a pencil through one ear and out the other? Uh-huh. Well, then perhaps I could introduce you to music. Music comes in a variety of different types, flavors, and colors. Theorists say that it's the best thing to introduce to your life since food. So go out and get some and make your life just a little bit more bearable. Welcome back, everybody. So, Alex, what's the passion that you brought with you today?
I guess I brought community building with me today.
I guess.
I mean, look, someone might have twisted my arm, but we're not going to talk about it.
Read the lines, sir.
Yes, we are here to talk about building communities. Is that the line?
Yes, that's the line.
Oh, good.
Your parents will be released. Just finish.
Yeah, I mean, I live in a small town. And part of living in a small town is building, carving out your own part of the community that you get to be a part of. And because I didn't grow up here, it's a little difficult to say the least. Everybody knows everybody. Everybody has known everybody since they were like, 5 years old playing on the playground. So I'm just that weird guy from the East Coast. But it goes beyond that too. I think, the biggest part of all of my hobbies throughout my life has always been the community that I build around it. And whether that means building a community of friends to play Magic with, or building a community of other people to skateboard or snowboard with, or even in the case of like gaming, like I took a crack at being a content creator for a little while. I built a big community out of that, kind of like spawned out of my streaming. And that's something I've always been, pretty passionate about. I really like to surround myself with people with like interests and, try to improve each other's experience at whatever we're doing.
So the people might not have been able to suss it out, but you grew up back east in a kind of much more metropolitan area than where you currently reside. Like, yes. The population of where you live is like in not even the tens of thousands, right? It's in the thousands.
Yeah. So the town I live in now, depending on the time of year, has anywhere between like 8,000 and 12,000 people, like full timers. Okay. And I think something around, it's hard to get exact statistics on this, but I would say something around 50% of the homes up here are Airbnbs. So there's a huge, it's a big tourist destination where I live. People drive up for the weekend, or they have a lake house here or whatever.
But where you
what that means
live.
is, where I used to live, I don't know, millions of people. I lived in, the big stretch of city and suburb between DC and New York. It's like everywhere you look, there's people. So,
you said that you've always kind of done this. Was that something that you even remember doing when you lived back there? Like, how did that, because now it seems like a function of, or it would kind of read to me like a function of, okay, I'm in this small area, I want to do this thing, how do I make this happen? Okay, you kind of build your own community to play with, so to speak. You not to sound like a god or a cretin, but you make your own playthings so that you can do your game. But how did that look when you were younger?
It's kind of always been a piece of my life, right? I mean, even going back to middle school with like the GSA or whatever, like I founded tons of clubs throughout my life in all of my schooling. Um, like in middle school, founding like Magic Club, college, same thing. Like, building a community of like skateboarders or whatever when I was growing up. It's always sort of been like that. You find the people you have the most in common with.
So why create a group? Because it sounds like where you live was very busy. Like some of those things, like founding your first GSA or Gay Straight Alliance for those
Sure.
who aren't familiar with the acronym. But like with Magic, it seems like why did you want to create a group at school when I presume you could just go after school, just to a local card shop or just play with your friends at lunch at the cafeteria?
Yeah, it's a hard question to answer. I mean, I think you might have some experience with this, but being in a group of people who have similar goals in Magic is a really important part of getting better.
Okay.
And I care a lot about getting better. I think every player has something they can improve on, and generally speaking, getting other people who have similar goals involved in your practice and direction can help you, get closer to those goals. So I think that's probably a big part of it. Some of the people that I met in college at that time are people that I still, test for RCs with, test for the Pro Tour with. These people they're people who I've been playing with for so long that, I trust their opinion. I'm always seeking them out, and I'm like, hey, like, what's my 15th sideboard card or whatever, right? It's like stuff like that. And you want people that you're going to be able to walk up to and trust. And for some people, they build that group out of their LGS. And I just happened to not. I don't know.
So that one makes sense as far as Magic goes, but then, let's kind of pivot. The Gay Straight Alliance, you're not exactly making yourself more straight or more gay by going to a Gay Straight Alliance.
I'm sure not.
Despite what some certain news outlets may lead you to believe. Why start a group like that?
Yeah, I don't see, when you're so young, it's hard to really come up with a concrete answer to something like this. Like, of course, when you're a middle schooler and you care about, your friends having an equitable experience in life and at school, like, that you talk about these things, but it's going to be the adults in the room that are like sort of driving the conversation. So, there were teachers who were invested, and I had a lot of friends who were, LGBTQ. And I think it was just like a group of us came together and we were like, we want to do this thing and like talk about issues related to this. And that's sort of how it happened. That's the whole point of a community, right? is to do exactly that.
Yeah. So how many at the height when you were in it sounds like in schools there, it's easier to kind of formulate groups just because they give you rooms, they give you times and whatnot, and you don't have a job to bog you down. What was the most amount of clubs and like, kind of groups that you had created that were ongoing at any one given time, do you think?
I don't know. Less than 10?
All right, well, sorry to burst your bubble. That's a lot. I've been collectively in less than 10 groups in my entire life. Give us the rundown of the ones that, from the start of what was your first, do you remember your first group?
Like that I ever felt like I like started?
Yeah. The first one that you created or like had a big hand in forming.
Yeah, sure. It probably starts around middle school, right? That's like around the time you start having opinions about what's happening in your life,
For sure.
Yeah, I was probably like a young teenager. It would have been probably Magic related, or could have been this Gay Straight Alliance thing, or I don't know. I mean, I started a lot of things around that time. I think that's pretty common for a lot of people.
Hell yeah.
To sort of learn a lot about yourself and what you're interested in. I started like martial arts around that time. I don't know.
All right, so we've got the GSA, we've got Magic, we've got martial arts. All right, what are some other bangers?
Oh goodness. I was like deep into Halo.
Hell
I
yeah.
was deep into Halo. Like, this is maybe a sign of my age because that game has sort of fallen out of popularity, but we've got
Halo Club. All right, what else?
Yeah. Gosh. Beyond Halo.
What else is there beyond Halo?
There's so many things. Like I started like a little ultimate group.
Ultimate
Frisbee?
Heck yes. That is such a school. There we go. Ultimate Frisbee. So were you were you just like never at home? Like every day after school, you immediately went from like group to group. And
so you know those ads where it's like it's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?
Yeah, your parents always knew where you are.
They never knew. Oh, they never knew where I was. I was not at home, and they didn't know where I was. Yeah, no, I spent the majority of my time outside of the house. I think school ended, and I lived close enough to my school that I would walk home, which meant that I was never walking home. I was going to do something else, and then I would walk home after.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I would go skate, or I would go to the movies, or I would go, play Magic.
One of your 1,000 groups.
One of my 1,000 groups, or whatever. This is sort of like how I make friends, I guess.
No, yeah. I for as much as I'm laughing, I am in no way throwing shade. I think this is beautiful.
No, it's fine.
It's just flabbergasting. As somebody who is literally, I think I've been in one group my whole entire life, to actually have started like +10 is just like flabbergasting to me, and I'm here for it. So lovely.
I think I like to sort of be that like connective tissue in a group of friends, or like, I don't know, colleagues or whatever. Like, I don't feel. I think a lot of the time, like when I'm making friends, it's in a certain context, right? So I make friends in the context of Magic, and usually they kind of just stay in that context, and that's okay for me. So
I've got my Magic friends in this box. I've got my LGBTQ friends in this box. I've got my skater friends in this box. I've got my Halo friends in this box. Look at all these boxes I have my friends in.
I've got all these. I have so many boxes. No, but it's just a good way of getting to know people, and sometimes like you really hit it off with one person, you become just friends outside of that group. But I want people to play Magic with, and if that means I have to have like some greater group to play with and engage with, like, that's great. I think that's good. I don't know.
Did you? Okay, I gotta know. Did you meet your wife in one of your groups that you created?
I mean, like, kind of. This is like, I don't know. This is just sort of how connections form, right? Like, I had a shared interest in this case, it was Halo, and I was really interested in like playing competitively at a time when that was not a thing, by the way. Playing video games for me was like, that's not real.
Hold on, you've got a little bit of schmutz on your shoulder there, but let me just get that out there. Okay.
I'm a little old.
Oh no, that was a braggadocious moment, not an old man moment.
Oh no, I wasn't. I don't know if I was even good enough, but I was interested in being.
Yeah,
good enough,
no.
Right?
It's just like you were ahead of the time. It's like it's a very
I guess
hipster,
it's like
cool guy. I made this shit moment. It's great.
It was not cool, by the way. People didn't think you were cool for wanting to like play video games. That was not cool. There was no Twitch.tv, all right? I wasn't getting viewers like
there wasn't even
playing my Halo games.
Jason TV. What was the predecessor?
Justin TV.
There wasn't even Justin TV yet.
I was young, dude. I don't know. I probably had an enormous ego and thought I was going to be hot shit, but
that's what being young is for. So you met your wife in a Halo group?
Kind of. So yeah, I had a mutual friend who I was playing on a team with at the time, who like his friend from school was coming back to Pennsylvania, and it was her roommate. So her roommate is now my wife.
Awesome.
That's the connection.
Love it. No, that's so great.
Roundabout way of getting there.
Video games get you girls. See that, kids?
That's right. You heard it here first.
And the last time.
Yes.
No one's ever said it before or after.
No, it's so true. Chicks dig Elo. I have that posted on my wall. I'm not kidding.
Oh, I hope and believe that. I'm here for it. By the way, fun fact is one of the only people that I know that's played Halo. Have you seen, I think it's like after Bitcoin came out, there was and like was picking up the smallest amount of steam. It wasn't like big yet, but it was picking up the smallest amount of steam. There was a Halo tournament. I don't know where it was, but it was of relative size.
I know what you're talking about.
You know what I'm talking about?
You're talking about the prize structure where like the third and fourth place got Bitcoin instead of money?
Fifth through eighth.
Oh yeah.
5th through 8th got each team got a 500 Bitcoin or something like that.
Pretty good.
Yeah, and first place was like $100 or $500 for like a team or something like that, which at the time I'm sure was pretty good. But like 5th through 8th, like basically each bought a house. Like they just got so much money.
Pretty good. Yeah, hopefully they didn't sell it for like $3.
100% they all lost it. They was like, this is stupid, and threw it away.
Yeah.
So what would you say growing up and now, if we can collate this into two answers, would be your dream involvement as far as community building goes?
I think growing up, I thought that I was gonna maybe have a bigger impact. That like somehow I would be able to take the things I was interested in and like convert that into some kind of like bigger community. And sometimes that works out, but most of the time, it stays sort of small. And I think as an adult, that's where I've ended up. So here's my second answer. As an adult, I am very happy and fulfilled by uh, the small groups that I get to be a part of that have all kinds of interests. Um, so, like right now, I'm working on a couple of software projects for Magic, and there's this tiny little group of us called the MTG Builders, and I got invited
Aw.
by somebody else. I don't know if you're familiar with SpiceRack.gg.
Yes,
but anyway,
I am. For
yeah,
those of you
so
that don't know and aren't Magic related, the game of Magic the Gathering is arguably the best game that has ever been created. Richard Garfield stumbled on gold and was a great game designer. It kind of collated into I believe technically the first trading card game that can actually be played of all time, and it's kind of like the Mac Daddy grandfather that's outlived many of the people that tried to come after it, and it's amazing and best, and everybody's tried to copy it for the right reasons. However, the way the company currently runs, especially at such a big scale, there are many problems with it. One of which is information, the dissension thereof, whether it be to go play tournaments, when tournaments are for. When they are publicizing tournaments that they are effectively giving away $1 million, occasionally has been up for debate. They are not the best at this kind of thing. They're great at making a good game. Sadly, they need to hire about 5 people to, send information elsewhere. However, they are getting a little hefty on their haunches in that regard. Thus, there are sites like my guest just recommended, SpiceRack.gg, which was created by a lovely human being who needs all the accolades in the world, because they took all the information, again, don't know how, wizardry, and made a website where you can type in where you live and what kind of tournament you'd like to play and how far you'd like to travel. And it gives you all the options that you could drive to or walk to from your residence. And it is awesome.
yes, so his name is Evan, and Evan fucking rocks. So
Fuck yeah, Evan.
shout
You're
out
my
to him.
guy.
But anyway, Evan, like me, he seems kind of like he's a builder, right? And he built this community of people who are interested in making software applications for Magic, and it's something that I'm stoked to be a part of because
So awesome, yeah.
like I wouldn't without that like I wouldn't be able to ask these really specific questions about like have you run into this problem, like does anybody else have to deal with this? And I get the inside scoop on when all the cool new apps are coming out, which is awesome.
Sweet.
But yeah, I think as an adult, that's all I'm looking for. I'm really happy to, to be a voice in the room and to get to hear the voices of other people about the things that they're working on and their passions. So that's it.
So fucking rad. So kind of rewinding a little bit, because I one of the questions I just realized, I have no concept of what it takes to run a group well or at all. So when you started out, I'm sure it was a lot more kind of like, not that there was necessarily like a roster or anything like that, but it seems like it, especially in like junior high and early high school, is probably a lot more casual, like, oh, we're going to meet at this time, and then, people show up and we do our thing, and then our time's over because the room's up for somebody else, or, Ted has to go home and he brought the controller.
Right.
What was it like running a group then? Like, what were the kind of, to-dos? And as time went on, what would you recommend for people who wanted to start their own group? What are some of the pitfalls that they should look to avoid? And what are the things you would recommend when creating a group? I know that's a bit of an open-ended question because there's so many different kinds of groups, but just like general good, recommendations and warnings.
No, I think your question is sound. You don't have to be shy about that one. I think the funny thing though is that groups that are spawned out of work or school are almost always like significantly more structured than ones that you make on your own. Like when you want to start a group focused around one of your interests outside of school or work, it might be a little harder to find people. But once you do, things are kind of a little bit more casual, right? Because just between you and them, even if there are people that you didn't know before. So just as an example, I have recently gotten really into rotisserie drafting. We do not have to go into what this is, but the point is it requires 8 people, okay?
Yeah.
And I had maybe like 4 or 6, something like that, and we wanted to fill out the group, and so we just kind of reached out to random people that we happened to know tangentially might be interested in doing this thing with us. And that was it. And now we just have a Discord group, and and we just, hop on and do our rotos, and that's it. And I guess for things that are more structured, like this project that I'm working on, right? It's a project between me and anywhere between 2 and 4 other people, depending on how ambitious they're feeling that day. But for that, something I noticed right away after we started working together was that all those little rituals that you have at work, like checking in, like, hey, what are you working on? And for those in the tech space, like agile development, I used to take those things for granted.
Sorry, agile development?
Agile, Agile. Yeah, the short of it is basically that there's all these little rituals where you check in on each other, and you have sort of structured processes for the way that you get your work done and how you chunk your work out so that everybody's working on a different thing and you're not stepping on each other's toes, and you're keeping things moving, right? And from the time that I was working by myself to the time when I started working with a couple more people on my project, those little rituals and those, those processes like started becoming really important, because without them, we would start walking all over each other.
Yeah.
So my advice for anybody who's interested in starting a project, or, maybe creating a local group of local snowboarders or something like I've got, like, all it takes is just asking. I know a lot of people get really anxious about talking to strangers. A lot of people in my life are very anxious about talking to strangers. But for me, that's the biggest first step, is like, you see somebody at the slopes and you're like, yo, like, when do you come up? Like, how often are you up here,
Was that never a hard thing for you?
No, that's very natural for me.
Okay. So this just kind of fit you like a glove. Now, one of the things that you're talking about, a group that's working on something.
Yeah.
In any of these groups, did you ever take, like, was there ever, like, not minutes, but like attendance, like, he's here, oh, he's not here, whether not to dock somebody necessarily, but to share information or kind of see who's contributing and who's not? Was there ever that kind of accountability or, populace check?
I wouldn't say I'm checking attendance, but sometimes something that happens often is you'll be working on a problem and you get to a point where you're like, well, I could do it this way or that way. And you don't know which way is, quote unquote, the right way, or which way is better than the other. And those are the times when working synchronously comes up. But other than that, I would say for the most part, our work is pretty asynchronous. And we just check in, like, if we have a piece of work that we feel is done. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean for this specific group. I just meant as like, just in general,
as an overall for having, running, like, building these kind of communities. Was that something that you ever would recommend putting a priority on, or you ever did put a priority on?
It depends a lot on who's in the group. I think okay, I'm a member of a Discord that is basically the entire Cube scene in Boston. Okay, so it's everybody who's interested in playing Cube, which not super important. Let's just pretend it's a board game. But anyway, we have a lot of people who are very passionate about this board game in Boston, and the only rule is if you cancel the day of, you're banned. So,
oh, wow.
My answer to your question is no, I don't really take attendance or worry about, people being wishy-washy as long as they give a heads up.
Yeah.
So, if you're not going to show up for something, or you're busy or whatever, like, things come up, right? Like your hobbies and your, like, side projects, those are not the most important things in your life. And I understand, stuff comes up. But it just sucks when you leave somebody out to dry. So, like, that's all I can say, really, is just be accountable, let people know what you're doing, show up if you say you're going to show up. That's it. That's all I got.
Respect. For somebody that's run so many communities, what would you say is this? Obviously, they differ, per communities,
Yeah.
focal point. But what would you say is the sweet spot when it comes to amount of time in kind of involved? Like, what's too much time to be spent on average with working on a project in a community, and what's too little time where it's like it's so far from your reach that it almost feels like it's not a thing anymore of importance to you.
Yeah. So from the side of being like managing a group, or like, being like the sort of like driving force, a couple hours a week is like good. Some weeks are busier than others if you got big stuff coming up. As far as like being a member of a group, like this, Boston Cube one, it's awesome. I engage when I have the time. Like if I'm back in town, I'll see if people want to meet up.
Mm-hmm.
But it really depends on the size and scale. Like this Boston Cube group that I just get to like hang out and play games with. Like one of the people involved is the person behind a site called Cube Cobra, and that site is behind an event called CubeCon. And I can only imagine the amount of time that they're spending with all of the logistics of hosting a big event at a convention center and having all these people traveling from all over the country.
Yeah.
For what is their passion project, right?
Yeah.
And I don't have anything of that scale. So luckily, my calendar is not packed with anything like that. I would say a couple hours a week is more than enough. You give it the time that you have. It doesn't have to be anything too structured.
So for some of us, maybe even a lot of us out there, have not been involved in that many communities, or even the building of communities. What would you say is the biggest misconception by maybe us or the wider world when it comes to either community creation, fostering, or just general kind of participation?
I like this one. I think even in your line of questioning, something that I'm noticing is that maybe it's a little less serious than you all think. Like a lot of these people are just end up being just my friends, right? So it may as well just be me hanging out with my friends. But at the beginning, it doesn't have to be so severe, right? I don't have to walk up to someone and be like, "Would you like to join my group that's focused on this hobby that I have? Do you want to be a part of that?" People, that might be a little bit of a turn off. If it's something like you bump into somebody, I keep going back to the slopes because I'm just so excited for snowboard season to start. But like, I didn't know anybody when I got here, and now I've got like this group that I ride with, right? And they come up on Tuesdays and Thursdays, and we vibe, and then they go home. And all it comes down to is like I shoot a little Instagram group message, and I'm like, "Hey, is everybody coming?" And they're like, "Yep." And then we go ride. So yeah, I think it can be laid back. Like it doesn't have to be serious. As if you're working on something or you're part of a group and it becomes really big, and you're hosting a convention or whatever, like then yeah, of course, you're gonna have to have some structure, and you're gonna want to like delegate tasks to certain people so that you can rely on, But if it's just your local ski group or your local magic group and you want to get more people involved, like that's all it takes. Maybe just post on Twitter or something like, "Hey, we're looking for, locals in this area to come play Magic with us on like Saturdays," or whatever, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you don't have to. I think it's important that you take it lightly, because otherwise you might be disappointed that maybe it doesn't get the attention that you feel it deserves, right?
Yeah. Well, not to make it more than it is, but do you have a favorite non-obvious aspect to, kind of community building, or, like group formification? I can't think of what word that would be.
I do. Maybe this answer is kind of weird, but
love it.
It takes a lot of the responsibility of maintaining personal relationships off of you. So
expound.
Yeah, so I love meeting people and I love making friends, but it can be hard to be solely responsible for like maintaining the relationship you have with so many other people who also have this shared interest.
Mm-hmm.
And so when you have a group, there is sort of a, because you have like this shared experience, right? You're doing a thing together at the same time.
Yeah.
And it's okay to like move around within the group and become closer with one person or another person and not like feel bad about it.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think something that can happen is that like two best friends are like, okay, we're gonna like start a group of people to play D&D with us or whatever, and then they just like latch onto each other only for the whole campaign or something, right?
Okay.
And something that I personally like about having a group of people with shared interests is that if you're not around to talk about it, there are tons of other people in your group that might be. So yeah, I think that's the big one for me. Yeah, I have like this Discord server that I maybe alluded to earlier, that was focused around like my streaming and Destiny and stuff. And now it's just, you know, everybody knows each other. They're like talking about Magic, talking about Destiny, whatever. And if I'm not around, like no big deal.
Yeah.
Kind of just runs itself, you know?
The way I kind of am seeing this in my head is kind of like magnets. Just because you take a magnet apart doesn't mean when the magnet is in proximity with the other magnet, it won't latch on. It's just that at that moment, that other magnet isn't there, so it can latch onto a different magnet.
Yes. Yeah. I like it. It gives me the opportunity to stay invested in a thing without having to constantly be like, you know, paying into it, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so cool. Well, to move from the cream to the crap.
Oh, let's go to the crap.
Alex, what is your preposterous peeve?
Dude, stop putting fucking televisions in your restaurants. I don't understand. I don't get it. Who is watching Jurassic Park in your fucking Italian restaurant? Who's doing it? I gotta know. I mean, shit, even in doctor's offices too, it's just miserable. Like, please turn off the daytime television. I don't want to see this. I swear to you, like, daytime television ratings must be purely based on people who are captive at their appointments. It's like, oh, I had to go to the doctor, so I ended up watching like Days of Our Lives or some bullshit.
Watch
or, like,
5 consecutive episodes of Days of Our Lives.
Like, what is going on? Like, why? How did this happen? How did it happen?
I think like it feels like every one of those businesses got like a free option from the cable company, is what it feels like.
It has to be, right?
It's
like,
so wild.
Maybe it's like they bought internet for their, you know, their in-shop Wi-Fi, and they're like, we may as well throw a TV out there so people don't get bored.
So they don't run away.
I don't know. I miss magazines. Give me a break.
When did you first notice this being an issue? 3-year-old Alex GIMMI. Turn off the fucking TV and hand me the... Oh, what were those things they used to have in doctor's offices? There was a certain magazine. I think it starts like an S or something like that.
Oh God, I don't know.
Hold on. It was for kids.
Is it Scholastic?
Yes.
Oh man.
Yeah, like
I loved Scholastic.
Yeah, like the Scas or Highlights.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like those two. I remember like Scholastic and Highlights. Just like like I'm imagining 3-year-old Alex just like, it's fucking stupid. She's gonna marry him. We all know it. Just give me the magazine.
I don't know when I first noticed. I think like, I guess the like turning point for me was, so I'm very easily distractible. I think we've covered that. And when I'm in a restaurant or like a bar with like TVs at every freaking table or whatever, and somebody's trying to talk to me, like, I might be listening, but there's no way I'm looking at them. You know, it's like, there's just no way. And I got like chewed out for not making eye contact with somebody who was telling me something important while I was like, you know, like my eyes were looking at like 10 different programs on 10 different televisions. Anyway, maybe this is a me problem.
So great. Is that the moment that where your passion was born from, or is that the highlight reel? Do you have a moment that popped up higher?
No, that's gotta just be that's the climax of my hatred.
Sitting there, just like can't focus, like having a Dory moment.
And then I get yelled at, and I'm like, God damn it! Like, I just wish there were no TVs in here. Like,
it's like it's like a villain origin story. It's like, if it wasn't for these TVs, my mom would have yelled at me that one time. Time to burn it all down.
That's right. Yeah, now I go from restaurant to restaurant, just crushing television sets.
Walks into a restaurant, sees the TV, goes, can you like cycle me to the back of the line? And they're like, sure. And he's like, go out and get a hammer. Come and destroy all the TVs. Actually make it to go.
Disgraceful what they're doing.
They're poisoning the eyes of the American public.
That's right. Can't have one moment of peace and quiet in this place.
Alex GIMMI, young retiree at law.
I'm a cranky old man.
A cranky old man with the ADHD and nowhere else to look.
Yes, that's right. What am I supposed to do? Not look?
I'm seeing all of these as titles for like late night mediocre cop shows from the 90s. There was nowhere else for him to turn. The TVs were everywhere. Oh, and as we collect ourselves, we're going to head to our second ad break. But don't go anywhere, because when we get back, Alex is going to enter the lightning round.
Oh, no.
This podcast is sponsored by Irrationally. One of the easiest things you can do with your hands and a light source in a dark room. Over human history, millions of people have used Irrationally to great enjoyment. With limitless possibility and no upfront costs, Irrationally will have your hands busy forever. Or until the power comes back on. So what are you waiting for? The power to go out? Oh yeah, right. Okay. Well, but when it does, we'll see you and your Irrationally on the wall. And we're back. Alex, are you ready to enter lightning round?
The lightning round.
No.
Well, too bad. Alex, is there a price for you to give up your passion forever?
No.
Make the
I'm
food
good.
or do the dishes.
Oh, do the dishes.
Did you ever cheat on a test in school?
Yes.
Pineapple on pizza or fist fight?
Wait. Like, I get to pick one? Why would I want to fight when I can have pineapple on pizza? Sounds great.
Well, some of your local New York cohorts might disagree. So you're having the best day of your life. What happens next? Another amazing thing or something terrible?
Probably sleep.
Is professional wrestling cool or lame?
If I was more into it, I feel like it would be sick. But as an outsider, it looks kind of funny.
Do you create your own thoughts or do you just listen to them?
Create?
Album, shuffle, or playlist?
Depends on the mood, but usually album.
Is there such a thing as a perfect piece of art?
No.
Have you ever had a crush on a cartoon character?
Sure, who hasn't?
Are you out of touch, or is it the children who are wrong?
Nah, be fucking for real right now. Hold on.
What is more important, freedom or structure?
Freedom.
Would you rather have tentacle arms or kangaroo legs?
Dude, kangaroo legs.
Human in a world of Muppets or Muppet in a world of humans?
Are Muppets immortal? Do they die?
One way to find out.
I'm gonna be a Muppet.
Would you rather meet an alien or a ghost?
Alien.
Are hot dogs tacos?
Sure.
Would you go to a music festival on the moon?
No.
Skydiving or deep sea diving?
Deep sea.
Would you rather be stranded in the desert or at sea?
Desert.
Subbed or dubbed?
I don't often watch foreign content, but I'm gonna go with subbed.
Do you like reading in the bathroom?
Not especially.
Would you rather have your fries cost double or they always come out cold and soggy?
Oh God, just make them cost double.
Well, speaking of food, could you eat 37 of your favorite food for $5,000 in a 1 hour time limit?
1 hour? What even is my favorite food? Hell no. I can't eat 37 of anything in an hour.
Well, congratulations. You've survived the lightning round.
I made it.
Now, before we move on, I, like many listeners, would like to now know, what is your favorite food that you don't think you could eat 37 of for $5,000 in a 1 hour time limit?
I don't know. It's probably like a pretzel. I don't think I can eat 37 pretzels in a day.
Yeah, probably not. That's a lot of pretzel. Well, either way, as you have survived, you now may receive this awesome reward of asking me a lightning round question and in turn have it be asked to future guests.
All right.
My guy.
Yes, let's do it. So my question is, do you pee in the shower?
Yep.
Nice.
Not frequently, because I do share the shower with my roommates, one of which who's been on this podcast. But, I mean, you know, if I'm there and it's time, why get out? The water's wet. You know?
Yeah.
You feel me?
Believe me, I feel you. I'm there.
All right. So to rewind a little bit, what do you put on your pretzels?
I like honey mustard. It's not bad. Or nothing. Also acceptable.
Salt or no?
Yeah, salt's good.
Okay.
That kind of goes in with the nothing, I feel like.
Sure.
Nothing implies salt.
I have seen people scrape off salt and I just look at them perplexed.
Yeah, that's weird.
But yeah, you're a strange duck. I'm more of a cheese man myself.
Yeah, cheese good.
A queso connoisseur, if you will.
Oh yeah, a little beer cheese.
Oh, pub cheese?
Mm-hmm.
Pub cheese is cracked. Pub cheese is next level. I'm talking just nacho cheese. I'll take whatever they got behind the counter, but if they give me pub cheese, I'd pay extra. Speaking of extra, I don't know how this translates, but anything you want to plug, shout outs you'd like to give, or places people can find your content, aka more of you, aka extra. Read all about it.
Yeah, I'm a retired streamer, so don't follow me on Twitch.
It's the opposite of what I asked. Nice.
You can follow me on Twitter if you care about random magic content or knowing when my magic related software projects are going to be done. And as far as people I'd like to thank, shout out to the Scoos team, the people who've been working with me on this thing. We've been kind of like in the trenches for like 4 months, so appreciate it, dudes. That's really all I got.
Can you tell the folks what you got coming down the pipeline, magic programming wise, or is it yet?
Yes,
to be
I can.
Ooh.
Yeah. So we are currently working on what I would call a Magic the Gathering data layer. This is going to be mostly aimed at other Magic developers, and eventually we're going to use it ourselves. Dog fooding to to make database of all of the decks throughout Magic's competitive history. So I want to be able
Hell yes.
Yep. I really want to be able to ask questions like, how many copies of the One Ring should I play in Yawgmoth? And I want to be able to get real answers. So here I am doing that.
Thank you so much, Alex.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Alex, for being my guest today, and a special thanks are due to my editor, Richard Ashford, and my composer, Joshua Gibbons. And you listening at home, or you found time to appreciate this. Time is the most precious commodity we have, and I appreciate you spending yours with us. And if you enjoyed this podcast, please subscribe, like, or just share it with a friend. Every little bit does help. Or if you already have and are out of episodes to listen to, don't worry. We put out a new episode every Monday at midnight on Soundcloud, YouTube, Spotify, and iTunes at Passionate People and Preposterous Peeves Podcast. And a very special thanks are due to our patrons, Sibel Yellow. And if you'd like to join said illustrious ranks and have your name read aloud, just head over to patreon.com/Passionate People and Preposterous Peeves Podcast. And remember, folks, if days are numbered and songs are sung, at the end of the day, I think we've all won. So please stick around, because great things have only just begun.